Welcome all dear students for today's online session 3 of second semester BCA of Coimbatore University. So dear students, you all remember we are learning the database management system here, and today in our session number 3 we are going to learn the topics database system applications. Along with those applications we'll try to understand the meaning of your data and an information. So before going on to our today's session, that is understanding the applications of your database management system, let us have a short recap of our previous session there. So I think you all remember in our last session, we have understood the definition of a database management system, its 5 different major properties a DBMS should have, and along with that we have designed and created a new university database, and there we have seen the different files which we are using there. So now in today's session, dear students, let us identify the learning objectives. So our today's session number 3 learning objective is the student can understand the database system application along with the meaning of your data and the information. So the session outcomes is the student will be able to understand what do we mean or what are the different applications a database system can have, and we can understand the fundamentally how we can differentiate between a data and an information there. So now let's start our session number 3. So in our this session we are discussing about one of the important thing called as applications. So dear students, you know that whatever we are learning we should know first its application there. For example, in this semester you are going to learn a concept, very important concept called as database management system. So you should know, if you are learning a database management system in your career or it may be in your professional life or any other places, can you apply this database management system? So that applications we are going to learn in this particular online session. So this database management system, to start up, it has applications starting from very small scale to a very large, very complex thing there. For example, you can use a database management system for developing the softwares wherein we are going to store the data. So what type of software you can store? You can use this database management system for a software which is having only very small amount of data. It can be having only 100 MB of data. Or even you can use this database management system for a corporate level project or a software which can store huge amount of data which can range from terabytes to picobytes there. So therefore what we are understanding here is the database management system, what you are learning here, it can be used to wide variety of applications starting from a very small scale to a very large scale. Not only to a software, it can be used in any of the research or any of the areas. For example, I'll tell you some of the areas. For example, you have your scientific applications, you have your physical applications, you have your e-commerce applications, you have your medical applications, whatever it may be. You can take your army, you can take some products which is running in your navy there, or you can take some softwares which are running in colleges, or you can take some softwares which are running in your hospitals there, or it may be any big bazaar there. See, wherever you find a place which is going to make a business in commercial, it has some automation being done there. In all the automations which we can speak, which we can see in our day-to-day life activities, you have in the background something called as what? Backend data, which is refers to nothing but your database management system. So dear students, so make sure that wherever you go from now onwards, you should identify that whether this particular place or an application is being used with your backend software, that is your database management system. So now in our slide, I have put some of the applications which are being widely used as a part of your database system. The first one is, see earlier, that is for example before 20, 30, 40 years back, you had some database applications which are going to use a system called as hierarchical or a network system. They are being created in terms of some nodes there, or they can be created in terms of some hosts there. They are being most widely used in our earlier system there. So these used to provide lot of data abstraction and application flexibility. So when you created an application which are providing the data abstraction as well as the flexibility in the application, so there came into an effect a new application called as relational databases. We are telling about the DBMS, but this relational databases, it refers to RDBMS there. Along with that, there was a new way of database application called as OO application, which are being termed as object oriented application. So these object oriented application, they were made the more complex more heterogeneous databases in a very simple way. So if you are using a simple application, a DBMS is enough. If you want to provide a high level of abstraction and a flexibility in your application, you can go for a relational database there. And if you can find out that you are creating a product or you are creating some projects there which is dealing with very heterogeneous types of data or a complex data, then you can think of a database application called as object oriented application. Even nowadays there is no e-commerce, there is no business running in your internet, or it may be a web there without any database there, isn't it? So whatever the web commerces, web application, Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, anything it may be, you name it, I can find out an application there. So they exchange your data. The main thing is they are going to get the data from the request from the customers, and you are going to get your products there, isn't it? So that is using one of the technology called as XML there. XML stands for XML markup language there. So now in this slide, let us extend some database capabilities for new applications there. So now I'll give you some of the examples where the applications are being rapidly used in the market there. To start up, let me start with some of the scientific application there. See, when I speak about a scientific application, it is coming to the basic science as well as your applied science also. For example, you take up your astrophysics or you take up your particular genes there. Anywhere you will find some of the softwares running, isn't it? So they should be stored there. For that we are using a DBMS there. In the same way, see, the scientific applications normally they store a very huge amount of data resulting from lot of complex and very simple scientific experiments in areas such as high energy physics, the mapping of human genomes, the discovery of your protein structures. See what I am telling, these are the areas which are being challenging for the Nobel awards there. So the areas which are really contributing lot for the humans, in those areas also we are going to use this your database applications there. So my dear students, you can understand you are learning a subject which is going to contribute lot for this entire society there. In the same way, if you go to another example, see, this DBMS can be used wide varietily in your storage and retrieval of images there. When I'm speaking about this, I can figure out some of the applications coming from your medical science. Nowadays you can find out that any patient who enters into a doctor, he's been asked to do some scanning, isn't it? That is called as medical diagnosis there. So with respect to that I'm speaking here, I am telling about your storage and retrieval of images, including scanned news or personal photograph, satellite photographic images, and images from medical procedures such as X-rays or MRIs there. Nowadays this X-ray or a MRI, they are contributing a lot for diagnosis of a particular disease and giving some better treatments, isn't it? So their storage of those MRI images, storage of those X-ray images, storage of different values, even the images which are coming from your satellites there, even the images we are getting from your photographs there, everything can be stored using your DBMS there. In the same way, not only the storage and retrieval of images, even in the storage and retrieval of videos also, such as movies, video clips from your news or a personal digital cameras, PDFs, everywhere for storing the data you can use a database system application. So these are one of the most crucial applications there. Along with that, one of the important research area which has been emerging like anything is your data mining and data warehouse applications there. See dear students, in data mining applications, they analyze large amount of data searching for the occurrences of specific patterns or some relationship, or for identifying the unusual patterns in areas such as credit card usage. For example, you take a banking transaction, you can take a banking promotion there, or you can take a product promotion there, or you can take some identifying the relationship in an internet there. So if you want to do these all things, you need techniques called as data mining or a data warehouse thing there. So in your data mining, for doing your association rules and everything, you need to store your data, isn't it? For storing all those data, you can use your data mining applications. In the same way, we have another area called as spatial replication. See here, we are going to store the spatial location of your data such as weather forecasting, maps used by your geographical information system, that is your GIS there, and in automobile navigation system. For example, nowadays if you can go to any place of the world just by using your GPS, you can move from one place to another place without interacting with the outside world, isn't it? So that is happening even as an application of your DBMS itself there. Even there are tsunami detectors which are working with your weather department there. So those things, even they are going to store the data with respect to your database thing there. and even you have some applications with respect to time there. They are called as time series application. See, this time series application, they store information such as economic data at regular points in time, such as daily sales, monthly sales, or the gross product figures. For example, Amazon or a Big Bazaar or a more, anything you can take out there. So these guys, they will be identifying the product sales based on hourly basis, monthly basis, yearly basis. So for that, you are going to give them the data with respect to time there. So even for giving the data records with respect to time, you can use a database management system. So totally, if we start telling about the application of a database management system, it's a long list there. But dear students, remember these applications what we have discussed, that is scientific application, storage of images and retrieval in medical science, or it may be medical diagnosis, it may be data mining, it may be spatial, it may be neuroscience, or it may be time series. These are all the different scientific applications which can be widely used for our database system. So now I think you have understood technically where these database management systems can be used there. So by concluding this database system application, now let us have some basic meaning of or differences between our data and information. So in this entire subject, we are telling everything about a data. See, the first thing what we are collecting, that is not a data. That is an information. Later this information is been polished and it is been called as a data. So now let us have the meaning or a difference between what do we mean by a data or what do we mean by an information. And remember student, this is the fundamental question you should know. Even you may get in your exams there. Differentiate between data and an information. So now let's see the slide there. So here data is nothing but a raw fact or a figure, or it may be an entity there. When activities in an organization takes place, the effect of these activities need to be recorded, which is known as nothing but your data. This is first information you are getting, that's all. Okay, so now the process data is called as what? Information. You got your data, you need to process it, you need to pre-process it, you need to filter it, and such a type of data is called as what? Information. The purpose of data processing is to what? To generate the information required for carrying out the business activities. So therefore, you should be very clear about what is a data and what is an information. To be very simple, we can tell the raw facts which you are getting at the first level is called as your data, and the processed data is called as what? Information. So dear students, now in this session we have understood the different applications of your database, and even we have got the meaning of your data and the information. So to conclude with the session summary, we can tell that the student is able to understand the database system application along with the meaning of your data and the information. So for further studying, dear students, you can refer to the books authorized by the author Elmasi and Nawate and by Korth and Sudarshan.